Football fans across the country tuned in for a huge showdown that just happened to take place at the Jones this weekend. Coming up, MCTV's Nathan Boles has a wrap of Texas Tech versus BYU.
This weekend's showdown on the gridiron is still fresh in many Red Raiders' minds, but it wasn't long ago that Texas Tech and Lubbock communities were in a much spookier state of mind. MCTV's Avery Wolf and Elijah Farias have a look back at a pair of events that gave locals and students some unique options to celebrate the haunted holiday.
And if sports weren't on your weekend schedule but early holiday shopping was on your list, hundreds of local vendors were more than happy to fill your gift-giving needs. MCTV's Madeline Coyne has a special look at Wolfworth Farmers Market.
This is the MCTV Weekday Update.
Welcome to the Monday edition of the MCTV Weekday Update. I'm Cassandra Raucheisen.
And I'm Elene Khajishvili. This past Saturday, the epicenter of the college football world was Lubbock, Texas, where a huge top 10 matchup captured the attention of viewers across the country.
But if you were here in the hub city, you didn't have to turn on a TV to feel school spirit and athletic energy flowing across the city. MCTV's Nathan Boles joins us now in studio with the first look at one of the biggest games in Texas Tech history. Nathan?
Thanks, Cassandra and Elene. When there's a top 10 showdown and college game day comes to town, the hype can be too much, especially for a program that hasn't had anything like that in 17 years. The game itself was not the most exciting, but the result may be remembered for a long time. Texas Tech took down BYU 29-7. Jacob Rodriguez and the defense shut out BYU for over 3 quarters. From here, Tech is in the driver's seat to make the Big 12 title game and secure a spot in the college football playoff. Joey McGuire said the stadium was electric, and he thanked the students for the energy all week.
We're at practice or we're walking in the building, and not one single player, whenever I'm down in the training room or I'm walking through the weight room and stuff and I'm talking to them, that they're not like, Coach, do you see what's going on outside? Do you see what's going on outside? And so, man, our students were absolutely incredible this week.
Coming up in sports, I'll have full highlights from Tech football's win. We'll also look at Tech men's basketball and other Red Raiders across the country. Back to you, Elene.
Thanks, Nathan. The outcome at the Jones was the focus of most headlines following Tech's domination of BYU. But before the stadium even opened, hundreds of Red Raiders were part of an experience that's only happened on campus twice in almost 20 years. ESPN's College Game Day took over the green space west of Jones Stadium for this week's Saturday morning broadcast, live from Lubbock. Fans of all ages began packing into the area on the west side of the Commuter North parking lot at 5 a.m. ESPN broadcast live cut-ins until 8 a.m. when the national show took over the network. For the next 3 hours, the College Game Day crew showcased Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, and the Hub City, giving the university and local community exposure to the show's nationwide audience. At 10 a.m., the Game Day crew moved into the stadium, broadcasting the final hour with the pre-game festivities underway in the background. In the final segment, former Red Raider quarterback Patrick Mahomes served as a guest speaker to predict the outcome of some of the day's biggest matchups. And to wrap it all up, College Game Day co-host Pat McAfee gave his pick to win the first top 10 showdown in the Jones in 17 years.
This is the football God's dream. This is God's country. This is the Texas Tech Red Raiders time. And I'm rolling with the Texas Tech Red Raiders in the biggest game in the history of BYU.
College Game Day wrapped up right before kickoff, marking only the second time the show has traveled to Lubbock in 17 years. The first broadcast happened in 2008, when the number 6 ranked Red Raiders defeated the number 1 ranked Texas Longhorns in one of the most memorable games in Texas Tech football's 100-year history.
The countdown to Saturday's game was on most students' minds last week, but as always, there was a busy schedule of events around campus to help pass the time until the weekend's festivities. On Friday afternoon, Texas Tech STEM Center for Outreach, Research, and Education brought together several experts to talk about energy research at Texas Tech. The panel discussion took place in the sub-ballroom and featured representatives from the National Wind Institute, the Center for Critical Infrastructure, the College of Arts and Sciences, and the Whitaker College of Engineering. Students, faculty, and staff gathered in the ballroom at 1 p.m. to learn from the panel of experts who offered tips on how to get involved with energy research to discuss the importance of collaboration collaboration across the university. Attendees also had the chance to ask questions to any of the experts at the event. STEM Corps regularly hosts opportunities here on campus for students, but the group also offers community outreach options such as last week's Family STEM Night. To learn more about the STEM Center for Outreach, Research, and Education, including future events and the Undergraduate STEM Center, visit ttu.edu/STEM.
STEM Corps wasn't the only group who brought together experts for a discussion on campus last week. One department from the College of Media and Communication also held a meeting of the minds that included perspectives from beyond the classroom. The Department of Public Relations and Strategic Communication took over MCOM Room 359 last Wednesday for a faculty and alumni panel. Making the transition from college to career was the theme of a discussion featuring 2 members of the PRSC faculty, along with 3 professionals who graduated from the program. Professors Coy Callison and Debbie Davis were joined by Brett Gray, Robert Barbie, and Devon Humphreys. Gray is the president of his own PR firm. Barbie is a strategic communication specialist for Crash Champions Collision Repair in Fort Worth, and Humphreys is an analyst for Trail Runner International out of DFW. The panelists talked about what it's like to go from college into the professional world and also discussed the transition into graduate school. A meet and greet started the event at 4 p.m. and the attendees were also invited to stick around for a mixer. The PRSC faculty and alumni panel wrapped up at 6 p.m. on Wednesday evening.
With all the excitement of the past few days, it's hard to believe Halloween was just over a week ago.
The Lubbock area commemorated the spookiest day of the year with dozens of events, including many scheduled before the actual haunted holiday. MCTV's Avery Wolf discovered one of those earlier options that experimented with the combination of the spooky spirit, education, and lots of fun.
Science is getting spooky here at the Spooky Science Carnival at the Science Spectrum and Omni Theater. Today I stopped by to see how science and Halloween can make the perfect experiment. On the Thursday before Halloween, kids across Lubbock put on their costumes early for some frightening fun. At the Science Spectrum and Omni Theater held an annual event to celebrate the holiday with some not-so-scary science.
We're here at the Science Spectrum because it's an educational facility. Ultimately, we decided, you know what, might as well try to make a huge program out of it, So that's kind of just where we got the idea, trying to make it a fun thing where families all around Lubbock can just come around, maybe even beyond Lubbock, come around, come in, just have a lot of fun. That sort of stuff. So that's kind of just the main idea. It's just generally just educational fun for everybody for Halloween.
Sam Kunkel works for Science Spectrum and says the Spooky Science Carnival is an extension of the museum's mission to inspire children to explore the world of science.
In the Science Spectrum, we have different programs dedicated to teaching kids kind of basic science, very basic chemistry, physics, that sort of stuff. It's always fun and engaging, and it always ends in them getting to learn something new that they get to appreciate and maybe even get fascinated to explore further on in their academics.
Attendees had plenty of hands-on opportunities to conduct experiments, play some games, and take advantage of the museum's permanent exhibits. Winnie Whitehead attended the event and said it's a great Halloween event for the community.
My favorite part of the festival is just seeing the kids have so much fun. Just seeing all the families walking in, I just think it's such a great event. I bring my kids, I babysit every year to this event because they just love it so much. No matter how old they get, they just enjoy it every single time.
Whitehead says events like the Spooky Science Carnival and more gives her reasons to keep bringing kids back to the museum.
Honestly, the atmosphere and the staff that's been working here, they're just a joy with the kids and just love working with them.
If you missed out on the Spooky Science Carnival, the Science Spectrum and Omni Theater hosts multiple events throughout the year. For more information, visit sciencespectrum.org. For MCTV, I'm Avery Wolf.
The first full week of November included almost 7 straight days of unseasonably warm weather. Highs climbed near 90 degrees midweek, with a mix of 70s and 80s through Saturday.
But early yesterday morning, a cold front moved through the area, dropping temperatures and making it feel a lot more like fall. So does that mean the colder conditions are here to stay? Let's look at MCTV's forecast. The MCTV's tower cam is looking pretty nice this afternoon, but it is still a lot cooler outside than this time last week. Temperatures have climbed into the mid-60s this afternoon, but that's as warm as it will get today. Students are still bundled up after temperatures fell below freezing this morning, but the chilly change is not going to stick around long. Temperatures shouldn't reach freezing again tonight here in Lubbock, and tomorrow is expected to be significantly warmer with highs back in the low 80s. The higher than average temperatures will continue into midweek, and we shouldn't drop down to freezing between now and the weekend. It's looking like it will be another dry week across the South Plains, and that means the drought conditions will continue to worsen across the area, but there is a chance of some changes in the near future. Mostly sunny skies and warmer temperatures will be back in the forecast between now and Friday, but looking ahead, the chances for some much-needed rain return for the first time in weeks, with Sunday morning's forecast currently including the best chances for showers since mid-October.
As we mentioned earlier, Halloween took over the local area for more than just the actual holiday. Here on campus, students could also get their fill of fear at events held by many departments and groups during Halloween week. And as MCTV's Elijah Farias shows us, one of those activities encouraged Red Raiders to explore a unique facility featuring terrifying technology for some state-of-the-art frightening fun.
The College of Media and Communications hosted the Arcane Arcade just in time for Halloween. The event had several spooky-themed games for students to play using technology provided by the Creative Media Industries Department.
Today we brought some special equipment out, including some VR headsets and some board games and even some spooky-themed games for the Nintendo Switch. So hopefully the community will enjoy the experience. Dr.
Megan Condis, an associate professor in the CMI department, organized the event with the hopes of bringing in students to discover the esports competition and streaming lab.
It's just a Halloween theme. I personally hate horror games, so I don't know why I picked this theme, but we had everything running from gentle, just like fall-themed fun, all the way up through like horror, Five Nights at Freddy's, stuff jumping out at you, so everything in between.
Several students were able to try the equipment brought in by Condis in the CMI department. Rudy Salinas, one of the students in attendance, and enjoyed the chance to try out new games.
The VR that they had, those were pretty cool. You know, I was kind of confused playing that Exit 8 or whatever, but I mean, just being there, like making it look real was pretty cool.
Condis said the gaming lab is available to students and organizations for events and open play, but is also used to help students learn more about the esports industry.
We've also used the space for teaching purposes, so we have game development classes here in the college, and sometimes we teach those classes in this space. And then we also have a competitive esports team at Texas Tech that goes and plays against other universities and represents the Red Raiders, and they practice in this space, and we're going to be hopefully hosting some tournaments in this space coming up soon.
The esports lab is available to all students, regardless of skill level, and Condis invites Red Raiders to check out the lab.
Come visit us in the space. We'd love to have you. We have everything from kind of ultra competitive online shooter games, Rocket League, stuff like that, all the way through people who come in to play The Sims, to play Animal Crossing, and everything in between. So even if you aren't like a hardcore gamer, please come out and check out the space and have some fun.
For MCTV, I'm Elijah Farias.
Red Raider football topped the headlines for Texas Tech athletics this weekend, but there were several other teams in action who also found success while competing for the red and black.
But there's no question that football's historic showdown with BYU is still on most fans' minds today, especially for those who headed out to the Jones for the full experience. MCTV's Nathan Boles joins us again with a full rundown of the highlights from Saturday's showdown and more in sports. Nathan?
Thanks, Cassandra and Elene. I don't think Texas Tech fans wanted to wake up early for the 11 a.m. kick, but they did anyway. And it was a sellout crowd at Jones AT&T Stadium with the ESPN College Game Day in attendance. There's what you saw earlier, McAfee making the pick. And look at that crowd, the way they came out. It was pretty good. Early first quarter, we'll pick up the actual game action. Tech has to punt on one of their first drives. Wind was blowing deep. BYU can't handle the punt. And there's Ashton Hampton to fall on it for Texas Tech. So it's a short field. Tech not able to get a touchdown, but they do get a field goal to go up 3-0. Later in the first quarter, Baron Morton looking for Caleb Douglas in the corner of the end zone, and he just gets it in. Texas Tech touchdown. Caleb Douglas, left foot in, right foot barely out, but the left foot does get in, and that is a touchdown. Later, second quarter, Bear Bachmeier, he's been good at escaping people. He's hard to bring down, but this Texas Tech defense had no problem. Tech still up 13-0, trying to put the game away, go up 3 scores at half, but they don't get a 4th and goal here. And BYU is still alive in this one. But middle of the third quarter, Tech up 16-0. Bachmeier escapes the sack, but maybe it was worse that he did escape us. That's Jacob Rodriguez with an interception, still trying to make a case for the Heisman. Texas Tech ends up having to get a field goal. Stone Harrington 5 for 5 on field goals in this one. 19-0 lead, early fourth quarter, out to Cameron Dickey. And Dickey manages to get a first down off a 2nd and 17. And then later on that drive, he gets to punch it in. Texas Tech up 26-0. Dickey with over 120 yards and a touchdown in this one. And that's pretty much all in this one. Texas Tech thumps BYU 29-7. McGuire said Jacob Rodriguez should be in the Heisman race without question. And Rodriguez said it's huge having a head coach that has his back.
It's awesome because people have been putting these stats together. The things he's doing compared to linebackers that were actually there at the Heisman race or we're talking about at the Heisman race. So, man, I know our Lubbock media will keep pushing it, but, man, anybody that's national in here, you should push it because that kid deserves to be a part of that.
We talk about it a lot as a team, and then, just me and him, just how much we care about each other and how much, our love from, guy to guy on this team is so tight-knit that, we can play at a higher level and we can play so much harder just because of how much we love each other.
The Red Raiders are back to the top of the Big 12 standings. BYU and Cincinnati play each other in 2 weeks, so one of those teams is guaranteed to have 2 Big 12 losses. If Tech wins their last 2 games, and they'll be favored heavily in both, they will go to Arlington for the Big 12 title game. As for those last 2 games, the first one is this week. They'll play the UCF Knights Saturday at 2:30 at the Jones. It is the home regular season finale and senior day for the Red Raiders. Texas Tech has another program that's pretty high ranked that got started last week. After getting the win over Lindenwood Tuesday, it was on to Sam Houston State on Friday. It actually got tight at times, but Tech always had an answer. JT Toppin had 31 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 assists in his first game of the season after dealing with injury. Christian Anderson didn't have 30 points like the season opener, but he put up 18 points and 7 assists in his second game as the Red Raiders starting point guard. And Tech got the win 98-77. Getting the win was good, but Grant McCaslin said it is clear that this team hasn't been able to practice as a whole as much as they'd like, and Sam Houston State was more physical than them for most of the game.
I love the direction. A big stat for us, and you got to do this when you play really physical teams, is make more free throws than they attempt, and that was the first time we'd done that in a while with this group in the scrimmages and games we played. Made 28, and they only shot 20. So I thought our composure against the physicality was right, but we weren't good enough defensively tonight in a lot of stretches, and we've got a ways to go.
The next game will be a big test for Red Raider basketball. They'll go on the road to play number 17 Illinois on Tuesday. One area Tech wanted to improve this year was the non-conference schedule, and this is definitely a way to do it. Tip-off will be at 7:30 from Champaign. The game will be on FS1. And Texas Tech Soccer is going to the NCAA tournament, and they'll get to start it here at the John Walker Soccer Complex. The Red Raiders were selected for the NCAA tournament for the 3rd straight year and 10th of the last 14. Tech went 13-2-4 in the regular season and finished 4th in the Big 12 standings. The Red Raiders were led by Macy Blackburn, who won Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year for the 2nd straight season with a program record 12 assists. When you look at the bracket that we're going to show you here, you will see, here's Texas Tech. They'll play UTSA. Notice TCU's in this part of the draw, so they may be playing rounds 2 and 3 in the state of Texas as well. Texas Tech will play UTSA in the first round on Friday. First touch will be at 6 p.m. here in Lubbock. And 2 Red Raiders have sealed a chance to compete for an individual national title this month. Haley Murphy and Yekaterina Dmitrichenko made it to the final of the ITA Central Sectionals in College Station last weekend. They ran through a TCU team 6-2, 6-2 in the semifinals to punch their ticket to Orlando. It is the first time in program history that Tech Women's Tennis has sent a pair to the NCAA Doubles Championships in 3 consecutive seasons. The 32-team draw will be released this Saturday, and the tournament will start November 19th. That's all for sports. Back to you, Elene and Cassandra.
Thank you, Nathan. If football wasn't on your schedule this weekend, there were several other options to spend your Saturday morning around the Lubbock area.
One of those options takes place at a location just a few miles outside of the city, featuring an outdoor event scheduled every Saturday, even during the colder months of the year. MCTV's Madeline Coyne recently took a drive down the Marcia Sharp Freeway to find a shopping experience that has a popular stop for students looking to escape campus.
Today I am here at the Woolworth Farmers Market. It takes place in Woolworth, Texas from 10 to 2 p.m. every Saturday. It is just a few minutes outside of Lubbock if you take Marcia Sharp. Each week, the farmers market takes place on the west side of Woolworth. Over 100 vendors offer everything from food to clothing to handmade crafts and health products. From established businesses to new startups, the market offers an opportunity for local entrepreneurs to grow.
We first started off as a small get-together, pop-ups and everything, and we wanted something bigger, better opportunities, getting to know people more, making people smile, and doing something that's good for us in a way, and just putting ourselves out there.
Kylie and Michael Ramos, owners of Small Stacks, Big Sips, started at the Woolworth Farmers Market after their dad inspired them to create their own business.
I was working at Sonic and I had the idea of dirty sodas, and and my dad had the idea, what if we start our own business? So I thought dirty sodas and he thought mini pancakes. So we all sat together one night. I had stopped working at Sonic because I wanted more opportunities, and we got together. We started saying names and putting together what we would do, buying stuff.
Along with comfort food, other vendors offered healthy options not commonly found in West Texas.
Yeah, so sea moss it's a seaweed from the ocean. When it comes into us, it's actually dehydrated. And so we have to rehydrate it, and then we puree it. And then what we do is we add our fruits, and then our agave, and that's it.
Kiki Kennard says she was inspired to start her business, the Glow Moss, to help local residents live a more holistic life.
I meet so many people every day that are not taking vitamins or not taking supplements. They're not eating healthy, and that's okay. You don't have to, right? But you got to do something, and I think that's important. So me bringing this to Lubbock, I think it's important for people to try it.
After exploring the vast array of shopping options, crowds gathered near the petting zoo for the opportunity to see some furry friends. But if you missed your chance to explore the different vendors, stop by the Woolworth Farmers Market on your next available Saturday. For MCTV, I'm Madeline Coyne.
So Cassandra, did you stop by the Woolworth Farmers Market this weekend?
I did not. What about you?
I did not either, but I'm planning on next weekend.
Nice.
That's all for today's edition of the MCTV Weekday Update.
Thank you so much for joining us, and be sure to check ttuhub.net every day for more news. We'll see you on Thursday.